All right, we are recording now. Welcome, everybody. This is the August 2026 RMF mini session, and I'm here with Judy, and I'm hopefully going to be joined later on by Jennifer. And both of these gals are starting with RMF, have started with RMF very recently. Judy's just had her dog on RMF for a week. And Jennifer, I had a consultation with Jennifer about 6 weeks ago, and she started her dog Gypsy on RMF then. So we'll get an update and do a little reconnoitering with Jennifer. And with Judy right now, we're just going to basically coach her like I would anybody who's just starting out. They usually have lots of questions about what to feed and how much to feed and combinations and all of that. So that's how the conversation will proceed. Judy has an 8-year-old English Bulldog named Diesel. He weighs 50 pounds right now. And like I said, he's been on RMF for a week. He is a Cushingoid dog, which is what dogs are called that have Cushings. And he's had a whole plethora of poisons given to him over the years, including lots of steroids for various afflictions, including looks like ear problems and skin problems and then, of course, once the steroids started creating problems of their own, and then, of course, there were other drugs given to Diesel after that, no doubt. So, anyway, so we're trying to get Diesel started on the path toward healing. So, thanks, Judy, for jumping in this morning. We tried to do this meeting yesterday, by the way, and we got about 5 minutes into it, and I was hit with a power outage here in my area because we have wildfires all around us, and the utilities turn off the power when that happens. So anyway, we're trying again today. This is Sunday. So anyway, thanks, Judy, and hello. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so thankful that I found this group.
Oh, we are too. And you are in South Carolina, right?
Yes, that's right, in
Okay.
Dillon. Hmm.
Okay. And now tell us about what you've done so far. So just the last week, you jumped on the group and I said, you could do no wrong if you just fed Diesel cooked yams and cooked quinoa for a whole week until we can have a conversation about what to do going forward. And you did that. And what's happened so far?
Yes, Diesel loves the yams and the quinoa. He had quinoa before because I was cooking for him, but Diesel is his skin looks better. I had him on some herbs and things, and he appeared to be doing better, but it was like we got to a point where it just wasn't working. And so since we've
A
started
second,
the
maybe.
team,
Kelly. Okay, sorry about that.
yeah,
Could you repeat what you just said?
yeah, since we've started the quinoa
Hmm.
and the we do either baked or boiled sweet potatoes. I try to bake them, but sometimes we're in a hurry. We do. Yeah. I see her. My cat's at the door clawing, want to come in too. So I
Oh,
feel you.
really? Oh, we're both distracted.
Yeah. So the quinoa and the sweet potatoes is what he's had for a week.
Okay.
His skin seems to be the lesions that are on his skin are drying in. Usually it was like a cycle with it's called calcinotus cutis,
Hmm.
the condition that he's developed from Cushing's. His entire back was inflamed and red and raw is how it started. And then like I say, with a few different things, we were able baths and different things, we were able to get some of the redness out. But since I've only been doing the quinoa and the baked sweet potatoes, his lesions are drying in. The redness is like usually it was a never ending cycle. The lesions would dry in, and then another red patch would come, like a line all the way around the whole area. And then it gets inflamed and until it turns black in lesions.
And so
It's
one of
not
the
like that
things
now.
you sent me some pictures when you started him, or you posted pictures on the group when you started, and he had
Right.
a very pronounced bloated belly, which is characteristic of Cushingoid dogs.
Oh, yes.
And when you sent me pictures yesterday,
A
his
little
belly
better,
looked much
huh?
better. Yes,
Yes, I
much
thought,
better.
I said, is it in my mind that I'm just
Oh.
thinking? And so I asked my husband, I said, does his tummy look better? And he said, it does look some better.
Yes, and you know what? I ran what we're doing with Diesel through AI this morning, and it broke down. In fact, let me see if I can find that because it was really interesting how it put it. Oh, I can't do that.
It's like he's detoxing. It appears that
Yes.
through his skin.
So I asked some general questions about Cushing's at first, and it asked me about the dog. And I said the dog in question is already off steroids because it had established that it had already told me that most Cushing's disease is caused by the use of steroids. And
Yes.
it's really interesting because a lot of dogs can present with issues that steroids are used for, but they also have this Cushing's disease already developing in their bodies because their bodies are so um, biologically stressed by the misfeeding every day and the over medicating
Yes.
that the vets will give steroids for these other concurrent symptoms when that's the absolute worst thing that a dog could get that is dealing with Cushing's already, because Cushing's or Cushing's comes about because there is too much cortisol being released into the body. And steroids are just another form of a synthetic form of cortisol. So it's like pouring fuel on a fire. But I said, the dog in question is already off steroids. We are just dealing with the aftermath, and he has all the classic symptoms. But after only 1 week of plant-based meals, quinoa and sweet potatoes cooked, his bloated belly is visibly decreased, and he is showing more enthusiasm for life. And here's what it said. From a physiological and natural hygiene perspective, there are specific reasons why this clean, plant-based combination of cooked quinoa and sweet potatoes is providing such immediate, visible relief to his system. Processed commercial kibbles contain heavy chemical preservatives, etc., etc. Removing these allows the gut wall to immediately shed localized fluid and shedding. The liver is the primary organ responsible for breaking down synthetic steroid medications and processing dietary toxins. By switching to pure, clean, easily digestible whole foods, you have lifted a massive chemical burden off of his liver. As the liver stops being overwhelmed by toxins, hepatic swelling decreases, shrinking the pot belly. Cortisol causes significant sodium and water retention. Clean, whole plant foods like sweet potatoes are naturally very high in potassium and low in sodium. This optimal mineral balance acts as a gentle, natural diuretic, helping his body finally flush out the trapped fluid that contributed to the bloat. And
There.
it goes on to, I mean, it really is an interesting conversation. Let me move my screen here, that I had with AI, and I'm going to share some of that next week during my Q&A because I found out some interesting information about Cushing's in general. And so many dogs are suffering from Cushing's because of I would say the use of steroids. There's no such thing as overuse when we're talking about a poison that doesn't belong in the dog's body at all. So, anyway, so it's not your imagination, and I wish I had the pictures queued up so that I could show them right now. Maybe you can post the before and, maybe give it another week or something because it'll
Yes.
be just amazing to see the difference. So you probably have lots of questions about what to do going forward because it's the meat part that of RMF that, people coming in usually have more questions about.
Yes. I bought turkey necks.
Mm-hmm.
I was in our local grocery store and I saw the turkey necks, and it was not the butterball. I read about the chemicals in the
Enhancement.
turkeys and stuff.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
this was something that the butcher had put out. And so I went ahead and grabbed those so I'd have them on hand.
Right.
And I was thinking of starting them today, but after what you just said, I think should I just stay the course and keep him on the plant-based diet and try and do a little fasting maybe?
Well, here's the thing. It's impossible to say which route would give you better results. Both are optimal. Both are within the biological parameters of what dogs are supposed to eat. And all we're doing here is removing the cause of the problem, which is what he was eating before, and of course the medications, and replacing it with foods that his body can be familiar with because it's what his species has eaten since, they first showed up on the planet. So meat is included in that, as well as certain digestible plant foods. I mean, you could make a case that cooked plant foods aren't biologically appropriate because they have to be cooked, right? But really what we're doing when we cook certain plants foods, especially yams, is trying to replicate fruit. And fruit we know is a biologically appropriate food for dogs. So, and a lot of dogs coming in brand new won't even eat fruit, and they will eat cooked yams and quinoa. So it's kind of a bridge food. Generally, that's what most people use it for. There'd be absolutely nothing wrong with doing what you're doing for another week. I gather he's pooping a lot and
He
he's
is.
probably peeing a lot too. So
He is.
that needs to come into the discussion because if he's creating a housekeeping burden for you, if he's having accidents, that's something to be considered, you know?
Well, he was having accidents already because of the Cushings.
Oh, he
Uh,
was. Okay.
Extreme thirst, extreme hunger. He walks around just trying to find something. I mean, fuzz balls or ain't lint balls. He'll find a lint ball and eat that. He just eats everything. He
Oh,
goes outside to potty and he finds squirrel poop and our cat poop. And I have to walk outside with him now. Can't just, we have a fenced in yard and he usually goes out by himself and comes back in. But I have to, for since maybe February, March, I've had to go outside with him, to prevent him from trying to snack on all that.
well,
So,
are the accidents that he's having now an increase? Do they represent an
oh
increase
no,
for last
no,
time?
no,
It's fine, it's
no,
manageable.
so much better, so
Okay.
much better because I would like leave for just an hour or so and come home, or even while I'm here. I mean, he would have his dinner or snack or whatever and drink water, and he just laps and laps because he's so thirsty. And before he could get to the door, he made a trail from his food bowl to the door. It's like he couldn't control his bladder.
Oh,
And he's still having some of that, but not nearly as bad and
okay.
not so often.
Okay.
Um, so I was thinking about changing over to the meat, but he's doing so well with this. And Diesel eats anything. I think he will eat the meat. I think he will eat anything because he eats. We have a fig bush, and he eats figs. He eats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
figs.
figs. Fresh figs on the
Oh my
bush.
goodness. What color are they on the inside? I just have to know. Are they white or purple?
Purple.
They're purple. They're probably desert. Are they purple on the outside or inside?
No, it's just inside. They're like a
And green.
creamy. Yes,
They're
I
greenish on
take
the outside.
yes, I take the insides out and give him that.
Those are probably desert kings. Oh my goodness.
Is
Bigs.
that good or bad?
It's
Is that bad?
good. They're perfect food for humans. They are perfect food for dogs. Not perfect for dogs, but they're perfect secondary foods for dogs. So yes, they can eat the whole thing. He can eat the whole thing, skin and
He
all.
can have skin
Um,
and all.
yeah,
Wonderful.
I mean, if you pick figs too unripe, they're going to have a little bit of latex on the skin,
Right.
and especially close to the stem.
Right.
Um, but if they're good and ripe, if they're hanging off the tree, they're completely 100% edible by just about everybody on Earth.
Yeah, he
So,
loves those and several fruits. He
do
eats several
you have a
fruits.
big tree? Do you have lots of them?
No, I have one and my mom has one, a fig tree. So I actually put some in the freezer this time, and I froze those, and I've been taking them, cutting them in half, and and he just devours them. He loves them.
Do you have some on the tree still?
Just a handful now, just a few.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he's
Because,
almost
I
done.
was I was gonna say if you have a surplus, you can feed him whole meals all day of nothing but figs, and it would be fantastic for him.
Oh, well, that's good for next year. I'll know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Oh, yes. You can do that for yourself too.
Oh,
Oh
yes,
my
I love
goodness,
them.
that's what I would be doing.
Yeah.
Um, but from here on out, I mean, there's if since you told me that he'll eat anything and we've established that he likes fruit, um, you could do another week and just watch him just get better. The thing is, you know, secondary foods are not the kind of foods that a carnivore, especially, I mean, even a facultative carnivore makes the best use of. They're not plant eaters. They don't have sacculated, convoluted intestines like we do for pulling all of the nutrients out of um, the plant foods. So they don't make as much use of plant foods as we do. And so they don't get as much nutrition from plant foods as we do. And they don't get as much nutrition from plant foods as they do meat foods. So the thing is, Diesel has plenty of stored fuel. He could eat absolutely nothing for a month and be just fine. So it's of absolutely no consequence to him and his health that he eats only secondary foods for 2 weeks. Even if he only gets 25% of the nutrition that is in the food that he's eating, he's still getting plenty. He would be
Mhm.
getting zero if you were fasting him, and he's fully equipped to do
Yeah.
a fast of 2 to 4 to 6, whoever, who knows how long he could go. So I would say, yeah, do that for another week. In fact, why don't you do like, have you have you fasted him yet at all for a whole day?
I tried. I tried, but he gnawed his paw until it was when I saw it, it was like um starting to get raw.
Well, I don't think that it's going to be especially advisable for you to fast him right now. It's not necessary. His body's already cleansing, and it's going to cleanse more gently if you continue to feed him than if you fast him. If when a dog has been so heavily medicated as Diesel has been, and is obviously has so much going on with his skin, you don't want to trigger even more elimination that might happen through the skin.
Right.
Because obviously his eliminative organs are already backed up and backlogged and can't handle the elimination burden already. It's sending stuff out through the skin. So you don't want to add to that. And what happens when you fast a dog is that all of those stored residues that the body couldn't handle and tucked away into fat cells are going to be liberated as the fat is used for fuel. And when those toxins and residues come back into the bloodstream, they can trigger the same symptoms and the same vicarious elimination that you're seeing right now with his skin. Um, you guys watching this probably can't see Diesel on camera. Maybe if you shift over a little bit, people could see him. But no, just his head is showing. Oh, there he is. Yeah, it's hard to see with that much distance, but
I
he
can pull the phone closer. Would you like?
he's oh, it's not really important. I just wanted
Okay.
to establish a baseline that we're talking about a very serious skin condition. It's really shocking to see a dog
Extremely.
completely covered in scabs,
Yes.
just completely covered in scabs and lesions, and especially with that awful bloated belly. So I'm just so glad that you found RMF, because what we're trying to do here is get his body to cleanse and free up enough energy so that it can start to heal those damaged organs. And we're trying to do that in a way that is not a shock to him. You know,
Right.
if he had to go without food for a couple weeks, he'd manage. But he doesn't have to go without food for a couple weeks. We can continue to feed him. We have the choice to make. Now, there might be lots of situations where a fast for a dog, just brand new coming in, might be a beneficial thing to do, but this isn't one of them. I mean,
Right.
one of those might be, if a dog absolutely can't get up or won't eat or has constant diarrhea no matter what they feed. All kinds of things could constitute enough of an emergency that we just want to stop feeding and give the dog a complete break. We
Right.
have really no choice in some situations, but this isn't one of those.
Right. I
This is,
was,
go
I
ahead, sir.
had, I started feeding him, he had quinoa and, like fruits and things, but I think what I did wrong was I was using hamburger as the base, and
Mm,
it's full of fat. And from
yeah.
reading the book now, uh, that's more toxins. So I was using that, and I would use ground turkey, whatever I could find kind of that was on sale, because it's a lot when you start cooking for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you got to find time to cook and all that. It's so much easier to feed kibble, and that's why everybody does it. But
Yeah.
he was on kibble from the breeder. When we got him, they suggested we use a certain kind of kibble, and that just after years of that, I could see that he just would sit and watch us eat, and I thought, my mama made a lot of sense. My mama said, Judy, think about it. All the dogs that you had growing up, they ate what we ate,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they lived 15, 16 years,
And
and
never had to go to the vet.
never
There
went
wasn't
to
a
the
vet
vet.
on every street corner.
No, we weren't required to give them all these vaccinations. When Diesel's skin started showing an increase in inflammation and the redness, and a few sores came on. And I took him to the vet, and I said, I don't want him to have any vaccinations. I haven't given him vaccinations in a couple of years. I'm trying to let that get out of his system. The first thing they did was say he has to have a Bordetella in order to stay here, and we've got to keep him overnight a couple of days because his skin's in such bad shape. I said, well, don't give him anything else.
Oh,
They gave him Bordetella. They gave him, was it DHPPL? They gave him a rabies vaccination. And then we did an allergy test, and they started giving him, it was like a vaccine. It was not like a vaccine. What's it called? I'm trying to think. I had it on his list. Oh, the Depodex shots,
oh, oh.
because they found out supposedly he was allergic to some sort of dust mite. And so they were giving him shots for that. And they were just loading him down with more of what he didn't need.
How long ago was that? Was that vet visit?
That was in March.
Oh, that
That
was,
was in March. After the first medicated bath, I brought him home, and his skin looked worse, but he said, oh, it'll improve. Well, we wound up a total of 6 of those baths,
good.
and antibiotics, because he was, oh, his skin, the way his skin looks now looks wonderful beside what he did look like. I have to send you the
Oh,
original photos, because I took photos almost every day. I was
wow.
trying to find help. I took him to 3 different vets. One was a holistic vet, and I ran out of places to go, things to do. Um, it seemed that the herbs were helping with his hind legs, but then from reading what I've read, when I started reading the book, I'm like, oh, I got to quit those herbs. And so I stopped the herbs, and his legs are fine. We have, steps going up and the front of the house and the back, and he can go out and come back in, and he's fine.
Now, what has happened with his thirst? Is he still very thirsty?
He is thirsty. He's not as thirsty, but he would stand at his bowl and drink an entire bowl, and he's not doing that now.
Well, it's totally normal either way. If they do drink a lot when they first start, because they are eliminating a lot, and that requires um, a liquid transport medium, and so the body's going to require a lot of water. Um, so doesn't matter. Whatever happens is normal from this point forward. It's what a body does when it's in the process of healing. So, even though it might look bad, because sometimes these skin issues can look worse before they get better, especially if the dog's been, heavily medicated. So, do you have any other questions going forward about like what to do over the next
Oh,
couple
yes.
weeks? Let's devise a plan.
Yes.
Say
So
you do it another week, like every other day, do the cooked meal that you've been doing, and then alternating days you can feed him fruit. You could do that just to keep things
just fruit.
keep track of.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that's a little different. We'll try that. And then we'll talk about the meats. So I mentioned turkey necks. So I don't know what to give him. The Cornish hens, that was my first thought because I'm just afraid of the bigger bones to begin with.
Hmm.
When I give him the Cornish hen, um, if he still has the extreme hunger and thirst going on, um, I'm afraid he'll choke. He goes at that quinoa and sweet potatoes like it's like he's not had anything to eat in years.
Hmm.
And so,
That's normal. It's normal for dogs to eat like that. I always say dogs eat like you would eat if you hadn't eaten for a few days. And we always interpret when we watch dogs eat, we interpret it using our own, perspective and what we would have to be feeling in order to eat like that. But if you watch wolves, eating, and it's true, they don't eat every day. When they eat, they're hungry. They're truly hungry. But that's supposed to be the case. They're not supposed to eat if they're not hungry. They don't
right.
eat 3 meals a day, 4 meals a day, whatever, like we do. Um, so some of that gulping is normal, but some of your caution is legitimate also. Oh, hello. Who's that?
This is TC.
TC. Hi, TC.
He's
Top
good.
cat.
Yeah, he's a rescue.
Oh, he's adorable. Oh.
Thank you.
Um, so some of your concern is legitimate because um, he does have a, shall we say, compromised swallowing. Um, he has compromised swallowing faculties, I will say, because of his bulldog status, because of his his breed.
Right.
And so it's a little more important that he not swallow, bigger chunks than he can handle.
Mhm.
And since bone eating is new to him, he's never eaten a bone ever?
Nobody chews sticks, and so I'm thinking I liken it to chewing a big old stick. He chews and spits out the stick, so I'm assuming he would know to chew the bone well and swallow. With
Well,
those hind teeth. The way his jaw is made, he has the two big protruding teeth up front, and he can't chew with those, of course.
right,
But
right,
his back teeth, he does chew, big twigs and things.
right. Well, since you're brand new to raw feeding, I would say take those turkey necks and get your cleaver out, meat cleaver, and just cut them into like inch long sections.
Okay.
And I would hand feed those to him.
Okay.
One every, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I'm just eyeballing this, of course.
Right. Right.
Yeah, just one at a time. And he's not going to chew them. He's going to swallow them, and they're going to be digested just fine.
Okay.
So that's a lot of cartilage and bone in there, though. And that should probably be offset with a little lean meat. So if I were you, and you're going to have a whole week during which to shop for meats. Um, so I would recommend, do you have a Costco nearby?
Uh, it's not too far. We have a
Um,
Costco, and
well,
we
what
have.
what I'm going to suggest you can buy anywhere, but Costco has them very inexpensively. That's why.
Okay, okay, good.
Um,
That's wonderful to know.
because I'm a big fan of chicken legs, drumsticks.
Okay.
And Costco has air chilled drumsticks. I mean, you can get like 6, 2 or 3 pound, or maybe even more packages for what you would pay for one package at like a regular grocery store. They're
Okay,
just amazingly affordable and
okay.
and clean from all that I can determine.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would, when you're feeding those turkey necks, feed him, they vary in size, so I can't really say how many to feed him, but we can talk about quantities, but just in addition to the turkey necks, just so that he gets some meat to loosen up his stools a little bit, because when you feed too many bony parts to dogs, they get crumbly stools. They get hard stools.
Right.
Takes, it's they poop very slowly and it comes out very slowly, and people get the idea that they're constipated, and they may have to push a bit. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows the answer to that question. But anyway, I like to add a little bit of meat. So what you can do is cut the muscle off of the meat, and another thing off of the drumsticks, and
Okay.
feed that along with the turkey neck just to provide some meat. And you can buy beef livers at Walmart if you have a Walmart nearby, or from
Yes.
any store. Everybody pretty much sells beef livers.
Yes.
And feed some of those along, I mean, maybe 10% of the meal, a bit more.
Okay.
Feed some of those with the turkey necks. And another thing you should be on the lookout for, and you'll probably have to make some phone calls on this one, is beef heart. I'm a big fan of beef heart because it can be had pretty inexpensively,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very dense, it's very nutrient dense, and it's very lean. It has fat on it, but it's surface fat that you can easily cut off.
Okay.
So that's my staple meal for my dog that she just ate this morning is beef liver, beef heart, and chicken legs with some of the meat cut off. I cut the meat off of the chicken leg and feed that to my cat, because cats don't generally need bones every day like dogs should have, because we
Right.
don't really care if cats have loose stools. They use the litter box, right? Because
Right.
it's mostly a housekeeping issue. This stool consistency is mostly a housekeeping issue. It's not really a nutritional issue. But I still like to make sure that dogs have plenty of meat offset by plenty of bone. There's a ratio that's correct, and dogs should get both every day. So if you center meals around those foods that we've talked about this morning for the rest of Diesel's life, he'll be fine.
Oh, that seems simple enough. Okay, so if we cut the meat from the drumstick from the bone. So do we feed him the bone at a different time, or do we never feed him the
No,
drumstick bone?
no, I would take save those chicken leg bones for the next feeding. Find some
Okay,
beef heart and feed the beef heart with the chicken bones.
okay,
And you just want to construct meals that are maybe 40-50% bony meat
right.
and 50% or more um, lean meat. You're just trying to replicate the body of a very lean wild prey animal. And
Okay,
the two
okay,
main components of wild prey animals are lean muscle tissue and the cartilage and bone that you find in things like turkey legs and turkey necks and chicken legs.
okay, okay.
So yeah, you feed those two, and just for the sake of Diesel's unfamiliarity with foods, I mean, there there is a very good likelihood that you could put a chicken leg down for Diesel, and he would chew it up with those back teeth of his and be able to swallow it just fine. But there's also the slight possibility that he would try to swallow it whole, and
Right.
that it might gets stuck and you would be having to pull it out of his throat or something.
Right.
And I don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. So I have to be conservative in my recommendations to you. And that's why I'm saying get your cleaver out, cut it up with, I mean, I feed my 10-pound dog whole chicken legs. She just ate two of them.
Okay.
I do take off some of the meat, like I said, and feed that to my cat. And I think that helps dogs recognize that they need to chew, that that thing
Yes.
they're trying to swallow isn't all meat, that there's some bone there.
Yes. Well,
I
so
don't.
this helps TC then. TC
Yeah. Oh,
TC can
yeah.
have some meat too, and
Definitely.
we have a kitten as well. So
Oh, you have a kitten too?
yeah, he was in the middle of the street. Uh, Turned out he had a broken pelvis,
Oh,
and anyway, he's doing fine. He's
how
doing.
old is he?
I've had it since January, February. It was cold, January or February.
So he's under a year.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. No vaccines, and we have not been neutered.
what a
Yeah.
lucky kitty that you came upon him.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Okay, well, now we should talk about quantities, and quantities is always something I dread talking about because everybody wants to know how much to feed their dog, and nobody in the world can tell you because fuel expenditure is an individual thing. So, it's always like I have to give you a range. That's all that I can really do. Um,
Right.
Anything between 3 and 10% is suitable.
Okay.
There's a number in there that's going to be perfect for him, but nobody in the world knows what it is. You just
Mhm.
want to be conservative. You don't want to feed under 3% because he's probably going to be hungry if you do. And you
Mhm.
don't want to feed over 10% because that's getting into um, the risk of bloat or, GDV, gastric, where the stomach turns over on
Mhm.
itself. And that almost always, or it's been tightly correlated to big meals. So we don't want to feed the dog a big, huge meal. Um, and that's why 10% is the cap.
Okay.
So stay between those and stay in that range and you'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else you need to know about before I let you
Mm.
go?
I I think that's it. I think we covered just about all of that. Um, Even with TC, because I was going to mention, TC and Muffy and what they could eat, so they can eat the chicken, the raw chicken and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, why don't we could plan on, if you're available, doing this again next month so that we can sort of review what's been
Yes.
happening with Diesel, and then you could have a chance to experiment with your kitties too, feeding them raw and see what happens because with cats it's a little different. They can be a little reluctant or resistant to dietary change. Have you tried feeding TC raw meat yet?
I tried. Muffy will eat a little bit of raw chicken. Like when I'm cooking chicken, I have little scraps. I give it to Muffy. Muffy eats it.
Okay.
TC will not, but TC will kill a squirrel, a bird, anything. He kills all kinds of stuff and brings it and puts it on my porch. And he goes for the organs mostly. I've noticed
That's
he
great.
right
That's
for
a
the
good sign.
organ, and he'll leave me the rest.
Great. So he'll eat raw organ meat that you
TC does. TC
Great.
does. Yeah.
Okay. How old is TC?
I don't really know. He's a rescue. We've had him about 3 years. So
Okay.
he was maybe a year old when we got him, so maybe 4 years old.
Yeah, he's a young adult. So,
And he goes inside and outside. He comes
well,
in, gets something to eat, naps, and goes back out.
there's a lot of potential there for him to be switched completely over to raw diet. So, even if you have to, when you first get him started, put his food, put his meat in a frying pan, just let it sear on the outside and then flip it over, and that will get him started. I mean, if
Maybe that
it,
just the little bit of heat
yes.
that you're talking about, because maybe that's my problem with TC, since he does, go and bring squirrels and things in and eat them. Maybe the chicken I'm giving him is not warm, maybe he likes
Right.
the,
Well, he's also more used to cooked proteins than raw proteins because, cats get
the
really stuck in their
kibble.
ways.
He
Don't-
has kibble. He has kibble. I'm sorry to say we do.
Yeah, and it's just kitty crack that it's very addictive. And it's very like non-nutritious. You don't get much out of it.
Right.
It's surprising they managed to stay alive at all. But anyway, so we can talk about that next month if you want to.
Okay. Sounds good. I would love that.
Okay, all right, sounds good. So I'm going to go ahead and cut you loose, and hopefully Jennifer will be there.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you
good
so
luck with
much,
Diesel.
Nora.
I can't wait to see pictures of
Right.
Diesel as he improves. That's going
Right.
to be fun. All right. Bye, Judy. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Jennifer, are you there? Let me see if I have a message. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording for a minute while I try to get Jennifer back. Okay, I am back with Jennifer, but she has had a bit of a technical glitch and I have had to connect with her on the phone. She's on the phone right now, and the only way that we can talk is if she asks her questions through my phone, and then I can answer on the Zoom call. So hopefully that will work. We are talking about a dog named Gypsy, and she's a German Shepherd. She's currently 85 and a half pounds. She's how old? I'm not sure how old she is. I guess we can get to that. Oh, she was born in 2018, so she is 7.5 years old and was adopted by Jennifer and her husband 2.5 years ago. She is, like I said, a German Shepherd, and she's also had lots of medications and whatnot. So we can talk about what her problems are. She's had an abscess for which she was given a shot of Cytopoint and antibiotics. She's had UTIs for which she was given antibiotics. And she had a drug called Proin. I don't know what that is. That she had Proin. Okay, that makes sense. From which she had a severe reaction, and I'm not sure what her problems are currently, but we will find out. So, hi, Jennifer. Why don't you go ahead and ask whatever you need to ask, and we'll figure out if this is going to work.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. Yeah, so what we did was just try to stabilize Gypsy because she was so traumatized when we got her. So we've calmed her down immeasurably. She's an amazing dog now. But she was a failed protection dog, so she was all over the map, either lunging or hiding. So she's come a long way. So we started RMF 6.5 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's been a positive change for her. So she's in a current exacerbation right now with her skin condition. Today's a fasting day. I live in Los Angeles, so the heat is brutal right now. So we're trying to keep her cool. And I'm just I make aloe vera from some of my plants. I make a little juice to just put on the hot spots, and that seems to calm her down, plus distraction. So I think that's where we're at right now.
Well, you know, I just for the sake of giving those tissues the optimal conditions for healing, I would really discontinue the use of anything on them at all. Even water disrupts the chemicals that are produced by the body when it has a lesion or some kind of a break to heal.
Okay.
So there's absolutely no biological precedent for a dog or any living creature to have plant excretions. I don't know what you call the stuff that comes out of the aloe vera plant, but put onto wounds. Tissues evolved healing on their own without any chemical interference at all, even the natural chemicals in plants. So I know it's something that people do. It's something that people find is beneficial. I know when you get a sunburn or you burn yourself, you put some of that on there and it makes you feel better. But, you know, taking aspirin for a headache makes you feel better too, but it's not good for the headache. It's going to poison some other part of your body. And, you know, aloe vera doesn't have very many poisons in it. It has, you know, some toxins in it, I'm sure. But what it's mainly going to do is just interfere with those natural chemicals that are being produced by the body in order to facilitate healing. So you just want to give her the best possible opportunity to heal. And that stuff is going to be coming out when a dog first starts on RMF. And there's nothing we can do about that except manage it as far as the diet is concerned. Because like I was just explaining to Judy, we can choose to feed a dog or we can choose to fast a dog, and fasting causes those residues to be eliminated faster, and that can cause a little discomfort for a dog at first. So we really don't want to do that when a dog first comes in to RMF. Now, I'm not talking about just a day here and there, because a rotation that includes a day or two of fasting every week is perfectly fine. What I'm talking about is extended fasting, you know, where you go beyond 2 or 3 days. Okay. Okay. Just go ahead with your questions that you have about feeding.
Right. So we spoke about 4 weeks ago, and we've been doing 2 meat days and a fasting day. So we've been on that rotation, and we've completely discontinued all plants and fruits because she just wasn't eating it. She seems to be thriving on the meat diet, but she's still digestive-wise going through transition with it. You know, some meals digest better than others. Some meals she eliminates better than others, and we haven't quite figured it all out yet, but I'm thinking it's still transition from, 7 years of, well, her food got better when she got to us, but who knows what she was eating in the 5 years that she was
living elsewhere.
A breeder.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just, I think I mentioned when I was talking to Judy that Gypsy will not eat plant foods, right? She's just not interested in plant foods at all.
She started to the first day or two, and then just completely refused them after the meat days.
Well, I would let that ride for now. Just let her choose, what she wants to eat. But don't assume that that's always going to be the case, because almost always with RMF, later on, if you reintroduce plant foods, she'll have changed her minds. Now, I've met a couple of dogs in my lifetime that didn't change their minds about plant foods, that they, just refuse to eat them through their whole life. So it's fine if she doesn't, but it would be nice if she did eventually embrace plant meals. Now, I was looking at what you're feeding specifically, and with the meat, you're feeding beef liver and chicken liver. And I was just going to say that because you were saying that her stools are a little bit inconsistent, and I would say it might be a function of excessive organ meats in the meal. So you might want to just increase the bone content. I don't know if you were listening to what I was telling Judy about chicken legs, but chicken legs or drumsticks are one of my favorite foods to feed dogs because they have very dense bones, and they're a very easy way to bulk up the stool if you're having inconsistent stools in the dog. So, um, and the fish heads that you're feeding are fine. Fish heads are very bony. Um, but you might want to try just increasing the bone content of those meals and see if that makes a difference.
Yeah, well, we don't just feed exclusively organ meats.
Mhm.
Try to balance it so it looks like, 25 to 30%. So it's organ meats, fish, and the chicken backs, chicken necks, turkey necks, some chicken legs and with the thigh. Yeah, she doesn't love the heavier quantities of meat. She does love the chicken backs.
She loves chicken backs.
She loves the necks, yeah. But the thigh or the drumstick, if we cut them up, she'll eat them. But she just doesn't gravitate even for the chicken breast. She eats often those, and then maybe come back to it later.
Well, that's totally fine for now. Chicken backs are very fatty. I mean, I don't really even recommend them anymore because they're so fatty. And that's why I'm such a big fan of chicken legs. It's like when I say it's fine for now, she's brand new to RMF, and what she's eating now is such a huge improvement over what she was eating before that you can afford to feed some of those fattier parts, and it's still going to represent improvement. And that's all you have to do in order to encourage a dog to heal is offer some improvement over what they were eating before. What we're trying to do with RMF is go all the way, but you don't have to do that right at first. You can compromise a little bit, and it's not going to impede the healing a whole lot. So, it's fine for now, but later on, I would try to, in a few months, try to center her meals on foods that can be easily trimmed, like chicken backs. You can, they're cheap, they're plentiful. They have a lot going for them, but they have fat that can't be removed. So, chicken legs are not like that. You can remove the fat from a chicken leg. So that's why I like them so much. So later on, in a few months, start centering meals around the foods that can be trimmed.
Okay.
Okay. All right. What else were you wondering about?
Still eating grass, which I think is okay. And her poops, some of them are very, very just powdery, bony material, and they're hard for her to get out.
Oh, well, I thought you said something about her poops having loose parts. Like,
No.
no? Oh, no. Well, then ignore what I just said about eating more bone or eating not, possibly eating too much organ meat. Because I thought they were the other direction. They're very chalky.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in which case you want to include more lean meat in the meals.
Which she doesn't seem to prefer.
She doesn't like it. Well, what you can do is you can try just braising the outside, like I was saying to Judy about her kitty. because a lot of times dogs will more readily eat meat that just has the outside of the meat seared. And you can even do that. I don't know if you're feeding whole, like chicken drumsticks, but you could throw a whole chicken drumstick in a frying pan, sear one side and then the other, and it's not going to harm the bone. It's not going to harm much of the protein, just the very outside surface, and it gets the dog more interested in meat. And it's a temporary strategy.
Okay, I
Okay.
can try. Um, yeah. So yeah, and when I don't just feed her exclusively fish heads. We have a local vendor for whole fish, so we'll often just get a whole trout or branzino or salmon and feed her that, and she loves it. So
Okay,
we
great.
whole fish, cut off the fins, organ meats, and whatever we have for chicken, or I haven't fed her turkey yet, but yeah, so I think we're getting there. So
Okay.
sure, try grazing it. What I've done though, Nora, is when we walk with meal, if like yesterday she walked away from a thigh and drumstick. I did notice my husband likes to chop things up more than I do. I want her to work a little harder. Her breath gets really bad when we chop up the food too much. So we're trying to just keep, again, just adapting by observation and ideas. So we have been, so I removed the thigh and the breast and fed it to her with dinner, and she ate it.
Okay. Does she eat whole parts? Does she chew or does she just swallow?
She takes them over she does a lot of chewing.
Great.
Whatever staining she had on her teeth when we started is now gone. So she is chewing and she loves it. But she takes the bigger pieces back to her crate and burrows in the dark and powers them down.
That's great.
Yeah.
You always want to supervise your dog when they're eating. That's my policy. But that's great that you have a reliable dog. I have one of those too. I can put down a drumstick and I know that she's going to chew and chew and chew until she has swallowable bites. So that's great. And that it's definitely better that you can trust your dog to do that. It's really unfortunate when we have to compromise and be cautious, and like when I had to tell Judy to cut up her meat in 1-inch sections because he's not going to be doing any chewing at all, and it's too bad. Maybe later on she can wean him off of the bites and onto whole pieces if she observes him enough to know that he would chew instead of just swallowing. So, but it's definitely better, you're right, to do the big pieces. So,
yeah, she likes it.
okay, great.
We both love the change in her personality. She's perkier, she's brighter, she's more playful. She's more instinctive, so we do have to work with her when we're out and about in public, because she can still go into some of her protection modes. But she's a remarkable dog, and I'm happy with the changes.
That's great. Well, a lot of that is behavioral and you have to work on it from a different angle, but it really helps when a dog is feeling good inside. It helps them behave better when they're feeling good. So.
The belly's much less bloated. But again, it's hot out here. I'm inclined to faster for a few more days, to try 2 or 3 days, and my husband still doesn't think she's ready for it. So I just wanted to just throw that out there. We don't fight about it. We call ourselves the guy grills. I'm the right guardrail and he's the left guardrail, and the dog bounces between the two. And we eventually come up with a good strategy. So it's not a power struggle, but I think that with this heat and the increase, the exacerbation of her skin issues, that it would be wise to fast her for a couple of days.
Well, it's impossible to say, with absolute certainty, who's right about that, because what you're doing is going to produce healing either which way. And since that's the case, it's not worth, marital strife or, risking somebody in the household sabotaging the fast or whatever, which happens sometimes when you don't have agreement in the household. It's just not worth a lot of, um, disruption to the household to do a fast when feeding is going to produce results that are almost the same.
Okay.
So, but I think later on you may have to prevail for sure, because as dogs age, they require more digestive rest. And when they don't get it, you will start to see that manifesting as symptoms. And, as you may have already noticed, when the weather is really hot, traditionally, if it's 110 degrees, a dog is going to go lay down in a cool spot. They're not going to choose to hunt. And I've noticed just in my experience that when dogs are fed heavy meat meals, when it's hot, they deal with the heat worse. They have a harder time dealing with the heat when they have this furnace burning inside of them, with fuel being produced. So that's just something you might observe in the future too. So, but fasting is definitely something you need to be open to. So that will need to be reconciled at some point. And I think you're onto something there. I definitely think that you should prevail, like I said, eventually. If not now, later.
Yep. The two meat days alternating with a fast day seems to be working well for her. On the every third fast day, we give her a knuckle bone, and that's hours of pleasure for her. So let me backtrack to the hard poops are from too much bone and not enough flesh.
Yes. And you know what? If you notice that those crumbly poops happening within a day or two of her getting that bone, it's probably because she is consuming a lot of that knuckle bone. If I put a bone down for my dog, she's not going to eat very much bone. She's probably going to have loose stools the next day. But with a big dog like Gypsy, she's probably eating enough bone, and that's all she's getting on that day is bone.
Yeah.
So
tends to pass more easily.
Really?
Yeah. So
okay, no worries then.
One, I know, isn't that a trip? One chalky poop a week.
Well, all I can say about that is add more lean meat in, and it'll help if you can find beef heart.
Okay.
Have you called around to see if you can find it?
I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that will help. It's a really excellent food.
Okay. I think that answers all of my bullet points. Again, I'm pleased with the progress. It still feels like a big learning curve for both my husband and myself. And I'm also quite pleased with my dog's innate intelligence of when she's had enough and when she's hungry. So, yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, it is for sure, because it really sounds like she's a good self-regulator, and you're going to be able to trust her not to overeat. And that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And then as far as the weight loss, I don't think what she's losing now is too much. And I just wanted your opinion on
Whatever happens, well, let me ask you first, what quantity you're feeding right now? Oh, you're feeding like 3 pounds a day, right? 3 pounds of meat on her meat base.
Do about 42 ounces. So
So
that,
3.5 pounds.
yeah,
3.5
That-
pounds is a lot of food.
that's 3% of her body weight. We
Yeah,
just
and
took it as a number.
it's fine. It's near the top. But what happens with her weight loss is definitely not due to the fact that she might be underfed. So don't entertain those kinds of thoughts. She's going to lose weight regardless because all of those tissues on her body will have to catabolize and be replaced by the better tissues that are going to be produced or created from the food that she's eating now. And she's going to use she's going to use those fat cells. She's going to use her fuel, stored fuel, and
Okay.
all of the wastes and residues that have been stored will be liberated. And so all of that's going to have to come off. And sometimes dogs do get ribby before they start building back. So if that happens, she's eating plenty of food. She's getting plenty of food. There's no reason to think that she would need more, especially since she's getting back-to-back meat days now. So I definitely wouldn't entertain ideas about feeding more. I think you've hit a sweet spot with the quantities and the rotation. So for a dog that rejects plant foods. So what happens with her weight loss is it's just the natural course of things.
Okay. Because it stays pretty consistent. It's roughly, a half a pound a week. And I think that's good.
It'll reach a point where it'll stop dropping, obviously.
It'll plateau for sure.
This is just detox, it's just detox.
I smell detox through her skin, but I don't smell ketoning on her breath, which would mean she's catabolizing her own muscle. So, I think that's still good.
Yes, for sure. All right. So I think we covered pretty much everything unless you have something else.
I don't think so. I just want to thank you for your patience with my consistent and persistent technical difficulties.
Oh, you're fine. These things happen. I still have those too. All right.
Anyway, did the fire get put out in Yakiba?
No, the fires are still raging, but the power is on, thankfully.
Sorry.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I know. It happens every year.
We live in Los Angeles, so we are hammered ourselves.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your wisdom. I thank you for your courage to powering ahead. And it's really interesting. Craig and I have already learned not to talk about what we feed our dog.
Yeah.
Because it recruits so much resistance. However, everyone notices that she looks better.
Yeah, but you can just keep it your little secret and preserve harmony.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people have to do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let you go, Jennifer. Thank you so much for figuring out a way to get over our technical problems and continue the call. So best of luck with Gypsy, and I can't wait to hear the future improvements that she's going to enjoy.
Thank you so much. Keep well. Bye-bye.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.